So in the grease business, primarily from food processing, you have yellow grease, which is fryer grease. That's a commodity, and that goes into biodiesel. That's not what Onsite does. In every food establishment, they have wash down where they clean up, and Metro has an ordinance that says you can't put grease in the sewer because it clogs up the sewer.
Yeah.
So there's a grease trap. This is for restaurants, schools, hospitals, grocery stores, anybody that handles food. This is just a requirement for them to be able to connect to the sewer. They have to have some means to capture and remove that grease. So this grease comes in, is picked up, it's pumped out. It is in next time you go through a drive-through, you look down before you get, and you'll see 2 manhole covers. And they're about 6 feet apart.
I used to work in that environment. When
Okay, you know.
So I know.
That's the grease trap.
Yeah.
It's like a septic tank, it has a baffle. So this has about 5% grease, and it's got about 10-15% solid that settles out, and the rest of it's water. That's treated, water goes to Metro Sewer. This grease, we call that intermediate, because this has about 65% water still in it, just from the separation process. That is further processed through a centrifuge, mechanical process, up to about it's concentrated to about 98% grease, and that's sold and actually exported. We'll get to the solids in a minute. So the second material that's received is hydrocarbon, oily wastewater. Again, this is not the used oil from a Jiffy Lube that's oil and maybe 5% water and solids. This is about 5% oil. So it's wastewater with oil and some grit. Comes out of oil water separators in like in a FedEx or a car wash. So it's got some solids in it. Again, we do reclaim the oil that's there, and that's reprocessed by an oil refinery company back into oil. It's not burned as fuel. This is actually reclaimed as oil. Then the water again is treated. It goes to the sewer, and we have solids from that too, and we have grit. Leachate is the liquid that comes out of a landfill. Rains, and also just the decomposition from the water. It comes out of the landfill. The reason it cannot go generally directly into a city's wastewater treatment plant or POTW is because it has ammonia in it. Maybe 200 or 300 to 1,000 parts per million of ammonia. That ammonia is removed, and then that water also goes to the sewer. Now, one key part here is that the solids are actually processed into a fertilizer. We use lime in the treatment. So basically it's lime precipitant with additional, particularly the solids from here is high in nutrient value because it's food and highly degradable. So we have a license from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture, and that is processed and used as a fertilizer. They initially called it a soil amendment. Now they've reclassified it, and it's actually a commercial fertilizer. So these solids become a fertilizer. So that's the process. The 3 waste streams. Majority of the water is discharged to the Metro Sewer. Now this grease, let's say for example if Onsite did not capture that grease, the grease has got to go someplace, and a lot of it would go to Metro. Metro will receive grease directly, but they don't want it. So we are actually removing that grease so they don't have to take it. And there are other companies, smaller companies that handle it. But so the advantage is that we're removing this grease from the Metro collection system so it doesn't clog up in the sewer, which causes extreme cost in maintenance of the sewer system, as well as additional cost in the treatment process. For example, we were in Chattanooga. Onsite has 4 plants: Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, Chattanooga. We were in Chattanooga visiting with the wastewater treatment personnel there. They said, we got a problem with grease. Now, they don't accept grease at all at their wastewater facility. They had grease the size of basketballs, big blobs coming in. So you can imagine what that grease does. Not only clogged up the equipment, it coats the bugs. And so the bugs really suffocate. It's not a good thing. So that's basically the treatment process. So everything is interrelated. We end up with fertilizer, water, grease is a commodity, and a little bit of grit. Does that make sense? Good.